Tara Jacobson, Artsy Fartsy Life, and today we are going to make this amazing Jack sign for your Halloween decorations. So I got this sign at Michael's for 70% off, and these super cute pressed tin metal letters for 70% off, so they were $3 each. And I got, this was 6, so 3, 6, 9, 12, so about 20 bucks. And I got the letters to spell Jack. And look how cool the tin is. So I'm not sure exactly yet. That one's different than these ones. So I'm not sure if I'm definitely going to use this texture for something, but I don't know what yet. And as always, our first step is to gesso this so we get a good base on it. And I'm going to start with the letters, and I'm using my sign as a palette. And I'm just going to go around and paint all the letters and paint the sign with gesso. And gesso is used, it's kind of like primer when you're priming your walls. It's a really good initial step because it sticks really well. It has a little bit of texture in it itself. It feels a little grainy. I'm using Liquitex gesso here. And it will, first off, stick to the paint that is already on these letters, because I'm going to use acrylic paint probably, or I'm going to be using glue. And if I didn't prime them, then, and I've done this before on different projects, if you don't prime them, then everything you just painted, because acrylic paint is plastic, could peel right off. And I don't want that to happen to my lovely project. So I'm going to paint this and get back to you. So I have decided to make this black and white. And because this isn't so fancy, I am going to use another layer of gesso and then maybe do a layer of white acrylic on this. But white gesso is a lot cheaper by the gallon than white acrylic paint is. And functionally, what I'm trying to do is to get rid of the contrast that I have from this No Vacancy. Sorry, I'm sure I'm knocking the camera around. Because this was a kind of cute, I guess, thing that you would use at your cabin. But I, of course, am using it to be dark and brooding with my Halloween decorating. So, second coat of gesso. I'll bring you back next time I do a step. All right, right about now you may be thinking that my spooky Halloween isn't so spooky, but we're about to get our spook on. So, darn it. Shake your paint. I think that one's just old. Now, I'm going to paint, these were the most beautiful pastel letters. Okay, so now we're going to paint the letters themselves, and I'm going to use the kind of orange colored paint that's separated. That's the old paint, but it's the brightest color. So this is going to be my base color. I'm going to go around and on all the letters, put down a nice coat of them, and then go around the edges here and make sure none of the white gesso shows. That is the most important thing. I'm not trying to get full coverage. Like, I'm not going to paint the whole letter on any of these, but I want to make sure that on the edges, there's a nice base of that, even inside the holes of the letters. Get that around there. And now we're going to start doing the second. This is just me finishing up. And now we're going to do the second color. So this is a lighter color. And literally all I'm doing is I'm just going and blending this with the darker color orange paint as I go. And we're going to blend that orange color and just get, so it's kind of like the highlights. You want to think about where would it be highlighted? And that's going to be on the big flat parts of it. And that would be where the sun would shine, where it would be more highlighty. And then after this, I'm going to come in with the darker color orange and spread that around. And of course the paint stays wet, right? If you get too much of the light orange, you just go around with some of the darker orange and kind of mix that in. And then you can go to the darkest orange. I was trying to see if I could hit the highlights of those metal parts, the kind of textury parts. And that didn't work so well. You'll see later I'm going to come back in with some dark black. All right, I tried to get us some better light, but we can't do it. So now we're going to start working on our A. It's a cloudy, overcast day, so hopefully you can see this well enough. And now I want to use my all-time favorite grungy stencil, which is this one, which is the Tim Holtz Dot Fade. And we are going to grunge this up. But we're not just going to use black. We're going to use a whole bunch of different colors so that it doesn't look too, like the goal of this, oh darn it, shake your paints. The goal of this is to get shake your paints, a whole bunch of different colors in here. So it looks like this grunge has grown over the years. And I'm using a little old sponge. And then just, I'm going to get a little color, get a little color, get a little color. I don't care if they mix. There, we got some grunge on there. Got some grunge on there. Ooh, that's good grunge. I'm having to push down a little bit because this is textured. Yep, that worked. Okay, so I just have to be a little bit more deliberate about it. Maybe smush it through. Oh, that's too much. There we go. All right, so this is the beauty of using acrylic paint, is I'll just take a little bit of cleaner. And you will never know that that was there. All right, let's see if we can get another color to come through. The black is kind of overwhelming it. Oh, there we go. That's what I want. Okay. Perfect. Okay, so we have a little grunge on here. We're just going to set this aside and let this dry for a wee minute. I am not going to be patient today. Yesterday I was super patient. I let everything dry. I was a very good crafter. Today I'm not going to be that good. Oh, that's good. This has less of a pattern to it, so my stuff is going, my paint is going through better. There we go. Perfect. Normally I kick you out because it'll take too long. I don't mind that on the C. But this is going super fast. So you're allowed to stay. Okay? I'm just putting little bits of grunge around the edges. Too much. I could tell as soon as I put that down, it felt like too much. So first off, let's clean off our stencil because that could be part of the problem. And then we're just going to get a little bit of cleaner on here. I don't want that quite so dark. There you go. Cleaned up. There's very rarely, well, there's never a mistake, right? It's just it's a K. And if I really did mess it up beyond repair, what would you do, right? You would just go back in and paint it orange again. I think lots of people spend lots of time worrying that they mess stuff up when you can't really mess up anything. Oh, the K has lots of parts. Oh, that's good. That is exactly what I was envisioning. This is coming out perfect. Okay, so we're gonna, oh, you know, I really should let it dry for a little bit. We're gonna let it dry for a wee minute and be right back. Okay, so now we're gonna make our lines, and I got impatient and made a glidgey in there, but it doesn't matter because we're doing a ton of stuff to this sign. So normal people that wanted a line down the middle would probably do this and then measure it and do it, but we're not going to do that because we're not normal. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put this box right along this edge and this right along this edge, because I don't care if it's exactly in the middle. And this is our trick that we did on one of the other Halloween projects. We're going to take a Posca pen. This is an acrylic paint pen. And we're going to make our lines with this. So I'm making a checkerboard on the back of this frame. So there we go. We got that one. So that's all we need our box for. Now we can do this, right? We can put this right up against here and make a line going down here. Oh, and you may be noticing that I didn't totally cover up all of the coloring behind, but that's okay because with what I'm doing, I'm going to be doing all kinds of different layers of smudgies and black and white and all kinds of stuff. So that will just add texture. See, this is why we had to do it this way. It's kind of like doing your tile. You want your middle lines to be good. And then your side lines to be the worst ones. And if we'd have done it just starting at one edge and going to the other, this side would be really far away. It wouldn't be as cute. All right. And then we're going to go this way. And this is the very easiest way to do a checkerboard. You can't mess it up. It's impossible to mess up. You make your squares perfectly. And then after you get done making your squares, I'm going to go back in with my acrylic paint and just paint every other one black. So I'm not going to make you watch me paint squares. So that would be a little bit boring. But the next step you're going to see, this is going to be all black and white checked. So I got the checkerboard done on the sign, which I think turned out amazing. As you can see, you can already sort of not tell what that is. And then the grungies are on this. So I'm going to do two things this time. This is going to be kind of fun. We're going to take texture paste. I should have some open, I think. Texture paste. And I'm going to mix it with some dye. Let's use this. Okay. I'm going to mix this with some vintage or walnut stain distress ink, which this is just a re-inker, so that I can put grunge, dimensional grunge on this. So I'm trying to find my craft knife. There we go. Boop. All right, so we're going to do this texture paste. So we're not doing this very exciting. Boop. I don't want to do too much because I want to see how this goes. And that ink is very, very strong. All right, so let's try this. Let's get our very favorite grungy texture again. And I want to go and just put some of this, oh, look at that, around here on this board, because I want it to be, okay, first off, I can't dip that back in because it'll be gross. So let's do that. Let's do this. Okay. Oh, look at that. That is some good grunge. And it won't be very deep, and you know, it's not, I don't want to cover the whole thing in this. I just want some, I want it to not be flat grunge. Okay. There we go. All right, so that is our next step, and I probably will clean that where I don't always every single time clean that. So let's put this off to the side. And now we're going to put our texture paste away and start doing some distressing on these letters. All right, so now we're going to distress this, and we're going to use our 3 colors of paint, which are kind of a purple, like a, maybe not purple, it's more of a cross between burgundy and purple, and then brown, shake your paints, and brown, and black. Okay, so now we're going to use a special fancy product called Glaze that helps thin out. So Glaze, I may need to open up a new one, but let's see if we can get this out of here. What this does is this makes the paint, yeah, we're going to have to open the new one, makes the paint more transparent, but doesn't thin it. Okay, so if I were to mix this with water, you could mix acrylic paint with water. It would make it thin, but it would also dilute the intensity of the paint. When you use a glazing medium in your paint, you get a more translucent color without losing the intensity of the paint. Okay, so we're going to do this. Let's start with brown. All right, and I don't want paint lines, I just want grunge. All right, let's get a little purple in here. Ooh, that's good. Okay, a little purple over here. Just on this side, like it got exposed to the weather. And then a little black. And here is where this will help too. We're just going to rub this in and see how we're starting to get a real grungy look. But I can still see that orange through there. Okay, over here, I'm not grungy. So we need to get some grunge in here. Maybe a little brown. let's do that. Oh, that's good. Ooh, look at that Uggs. We got some good Uggs there. Okay, so now you can see the difference when we add the colors of that. And that looks like it has been old, out in the weather forever. I may want to do just a little bit extra black over here and around the black areas, just so they don't stand out as much, right? I don't want them to be standing out. I want them to be more like they got pitted and rusted. And don't forget, we're going to be looking at this from far away. So this isn't something that we're going to be looking at close up. Well, people may look at it close up, but this is not intended to be close up. So that is the grungy versus the non-grungy. And I think that came out great. So I'm thrilled with how this is looking. All right. I don't know if you want to see this. I'll probably do it, and I'll see if it's interesting to watch. So we want our black on our black areas. We learned that, right? A little bit of purple on the edge to get some grungy colors. A little bit of brown. All right, I'm getting good at this. I don't think maybe titch more purple, maybe? All right. Yep, it's grungy. All right, I still think we need a tiny bit more black around our black bits. I do want my black bits to seem like they're pitted and old. So I don't want them to jump out at you. I want them to be more, all right, cool. And then I do think I'm gonna take a weensy bit of this off so we can still see some of that really good orange. Okay, I love that. That's good. Right, because we know we want that there. We know we want some purple around our edge. Okay. So let's see what happens when we do that. Okay, we got a little bit extra over here. So let's, oh, good, good. That looks good. Okay. So let's get some brown. The brown is like the perfect blend right in the middle of that purple. I like that where it's light there. I like where it's light there. Maybe a teensy bit of brown over here. Just to make it look dirty. All right, that's nice and dirty. All right, gotta get a little purple on our edge. Keep this paint moving around. We don't want it to get too stuck in here. All right, then let's take some of this off. Oh, I like that. How's this? Let's do this. Get this guy up here. Little grungies. Okay, that looks good. And let's just go in here with some brown. Okay, I feel like we got a lot of black on there. Which is fine, right? You know how we fix this. We get a piece of paper towel. We do that. If we think it's too dark, and then we start over again. Which is fine. I just want it to look grungy. I don't want it to look like it's dead. Okay, I like that. I think we saved a little bit of the purple. You can see it in here. Can we do a tad of purple up in here? I want it to look like it's been out in the weather, right? Gotten a little rusty and gross. See, that glaze helps you get the color, but it thins it out. There we go. Well, maybe I should have done my finger the whole time. I'm a good finger painter. Oh, let's do a little bit down here. All right, that looks great. I love that. That is looking like old worn metal. And don't forget, these started out pink and purple. So I'm thrilled with where they've come to so far. All right, now we have this. This is gonna be shocking to you. Remember our beautiful white and black? Well, I wanna grunge this up too. So we're gonna start using my fingers because I like the way that did it better. All right, so we're gonna do, just get some grunge on here. I don't want to go over it too much because it's gonna spread that texture paste that we just did, but I want to get at least a couple layers on here tonight. Especially while I have this paint all out. That's good. All right. All right, so that gives me a little start on my grunge. And look, when we put this on here, see how it's gonna be cool and hip and happening. But it's gonna look old and dusty. So this is gonna, this is gonna take a lot of layers of just dry brushing, going over it a little bit, getting it in those, because I don't want this to be, it's not going to be white at all. It's going to have antique Mod Podge on it, but I want it to look like it's dirty and dingy and been used. All right. So we have the sign done with the grunge, and then the letters done with the grunge. And I've got some bolts that I did alcohol ink to make them look grungy. And now we're just waiting on our guest crafter, who is going to help me drill holes in the metal letters through the wood, and then we're going to use our bolts to hook it on. All right, we got our guest crafter here. He's getting ready to drill through the K right now. And he's using I thought something like that might happen.
That's why there's wood underneath there.
Ah, see, we have a wood underneath there. We got the professional here. Now I got to redo my C, but we're going to go through and drill all of those. All right, Jack is done, and he looks amazing. I love how the sign came out. I did the painting, the grunging, even I even antiqued the bolts. They were shiny silver. And there you have it.